ScouterStan. Scouting survived. We're going through this pandemic, and things are tough. We realize that. But this is the beginning of season 3, and I am so glad to be back. We did some thinking over the long break, and we've decided that this would be our last season. Now, don't be upset. Okay? The original intent is that we'd record 24 episodes, post them, and then that gave us time to develop and research and actually come up with more show. That was the idea. Unfortunately, that never worked out. It's almost impossible to do all the things that we do in scouting and to also produce a weekly show like this. So we've decided to make season 3, and then after that, it will just continue every single Wednesday. So we're not going to take any more breaks. We're just going to go for it until we just, I don't know, explode or go crazy. One of the two. One of those is going to happen. But, COVID-19 and all of the stuff that's been going on has kind of changed how we do scouting. Unfortunately, we went into quarantine. The world went into quarantine, and scouting found a way. We've been teaching our scouts, us adult leaders, we've been teaching them to be prepared. And that's for anything, including this. So they naturally, in the United States, we naturally went right to the internet. Whether it be all the different meeting platforms and all the different things that are out there, the youth were ready to go. They were already using it. So it was us adults, it took a little getting used to the format and where things were on the computer and how to use those things. That was a little bit of a learning curve for old dogs, okay? I'm speaking for me. So it took a little while to get that right. And anyways, we got through it, right? And honestly, I think it's a great idea. We have learned a lot of different things about disease and pathogens and stuff like this. As we get more involved in, as a more evolved as a planet, we're going to start encountering these things on a regular basis. So we need to be prepared. Maybe Baden Powell was right on that. We should put that on a pet. No, I'm kidding. I tell you what, scouting is teaching our youth good lessons, good life lessons. And we're in that process. We did a lot of really cool stuff during the pandemic, during the main lockdown. We started holding meetings like we talked about, and then they did things over in, I believe it was Africa. They even had a World Jamboree online. Awesome. I'll put a link down there so that you can check into some of the recorded stuff. It's awesome. Okay, to see scouting around the world and how much we were able to handle this and jump right into this and meet it head on, that's awesome. Okay, and it speaks a lot to our leaders out there like you, doing the good work. Okay, thumbs up on that one. Scouting had an online jamboree. They did things like, they did pretty well. They did a lot of different things. They even did a camporee, I believe, the camp in, where you camped in the backyard and then you go online for the campfire and all the skits and all that fun stuff. So it was kind of fun. It is mainly because of what's going on that we had to do what we did. Okay. But that being said, now that we're getting out, a lot of in the United States, and I know I have a lot of subscribers from overseas, so I always preface that. In the United States, they are slowly, each state is like its own country. So they are coming up with their own process of reopening and reintegrating safely, of course. That's something that they're doing. Each state is doing that. I live in Florida. I've said that many times. Florida has gone through several phases. They have 3 phases, and I think after the 3rd phase, that's basically the new norm. Air quotes. I hate that, but it's the new norm. But that being said, we've learned a lot, and that is driving what's going on. The Scouts are going crazy. I don't know if you've done some boards of review, but they want to get back out there. They want to get on the trails. They want to do stuff. They want to go camping. It happened at a terrible time. It happened right at the fall. It was right at the spring, right in May. That's when everything kind of crashed and went down. And then, of course, now we're into, the summer, when we should be going to summer camp and doing things at summer camp. That didn't occur. Later, near the school year, as things get more integrated past stage 3, once that gets integrated, then we might have some of that going back to school. I don't know if scouting's going to scout camps are going to have enough time to do that. I've been doing virtual day camp, which is awesome. That's and right here from here. But that's where we've been, okay? But it's not where we're going to stay. So as scout leaders, we need to start contacting our charter organizations, like I said last week. Start arranging plans to start the Scouts back up. I don't believe that this electronic meeting world needs to go away. I think it can be integrated into live. And one of the big things is that we've learned, that you and I have learned as leaders, if you're not feeling well, stay home, okay? That's plain and simple. We don't need somebody who's not feeling well getting everybody sick. So stay home. Even Cub Scout leaders have told me that they have had a heart-to-heart talk about washing their hands from their Cub Scouts. We're getting more and more aware of all this stuff. In fact, when you're not feeling well, stay home. This electronic world will definitely be there so you don't miss anything. You can go directly from your own home through the internet to the meeting without infecting anyone. And we've also learned that if you're feeling better after not feeling well, guess what? You got to still stay home, because there's a period of time where you could actually get somebody else sick. So these are things that we have learned through this process. So I believe the electronic meetings are going to continue, and they should be an option for troop meetings, for Cub Scout packs, for district and council and roundtable, and all that stuff can also keep that electronic stuff going. I'm hopeful that will continue. That way you're not pressured into going to these things, especially if you're not feeling well. You can go online and get the same information. So that being said, if you're lucky enough to get to camp, to a real camp, to actually go in a tent and a dining hall and a waterfront and stuff, if you're able to do that, there's going to be some requirements. So you're going to need, as a leader, you're going to need to really monitor your group. Okay, there's a paperwork and stuff like that. If your camp is live, they will have requirements that you're going to have to fill to go to that camp. That being said, make sure that you're in communication with them. Communications is key. We've got to keep that communication stuff going, and that's one of the big things I want to do, is keep communications going. Now, the ScouterStan, oh my gosh, I did it again. The ScouterStan thing is our community that's here for leaders. We need to communicate. I need to hear from you. I need to hear more information. As a unit commissioner, I typically go to a live meeting, and the minute I get there, the scoutmaster, assistant scoutmaster, the committee chair, somebody comes over and says, "Hey, what about this? What's going on with this?" That's what we can do here, okay? Unfortunately, and this really is unfortunate, there are some units out there that don't have a unit commissioner that can go and be that go-to person to answer those questions. Now, you need to make sure that you've communicated with your district and your council so that you get a unit commissioner to help you, okay? A live one, not just me, all right? Now, as a backup, I'd love to be there and answer some of those questions. If you have that question, other people do too. So if you're subscribed and you want to put your message down below, please do so. I will try to incorporate that in our community here on YouTube. Okay? So that being the case, please do that. Now, another thing that's going to be kind of confusing, and I wrote an article about it on my website. What do we do with things like the handshake? We do a lot of that, especially at award ceremonies. And the thing now with this elbow bump, I don't know. It looks, if you look at it, I keep having the theme to the chicken dance go in my head with everybody. I'm not a big elbow bump person, okay? It took me, I'm old, all right? Okay. I'm not a big chicken dance guy, all right? So that being said, I'm not going to be doing elbow. And I was thinking, well, you could do fist, but then you have hand-to-hand contact. Not good. You could do a bow, maybe. And then I'm thinking, wow, that would be very strange. And right now we've got the meme of kind of doing a hello. It's not very scout-like, not very respectful. I was reviewing some old footage of Baden-Powell. And from a distance, he couldn't shake everybody's hand. Okay? But he wanted to, but he couldn't do it. So what did he do? He saluted. And I thought to myself, well, you could do that from a distance. You can social distance and still do that, okay? It's respectful. Now, granted, he was a military person. He spent most of his life in the military. And I understand that a lot of people might get a little, nervous about that. But I can't think of it. I mean, a military handshake is with the full hand out like this. British, as depicted in the movie. Oh my goodness, I did it again. As depicted in the movies, that would be a British type thing. But this would be more of a salute from the military, but with the scout sign. That's a scout salute. So a scout should be able to do that to the scout leader and the scout leader back to them. It was very respectful. So it's a lot better than the chicken dance or some goofy wave or something. I think that might be the direction we're going. There's a lot of this kind of stuff that's going to come up with going from post-pandemic back to dealing with real-life situations. That's something us as leaders need to do. And by the way, you've been doing very well, okay? The scouting has continued. So often when these things happen, it just falls apart. Scouting has continued because of good leaders like you. Good leaders. You put the effort forward, and this will pay off, okay? The youth will learn stuff and be able to handle the future better because you're putting that effort in. And I personally thank you. I salute you, okay? As far as putting in those hours and really working hard, from my heart, I thank you. And I tell you what, I think we've gone a little long, but this is kind of how the new format's going to go. I'm looking forward to it. We've got some really cool subjects coming up. Remember to put some comments down there. Remember to subscribe if you haven't. And then, of course, that's the YouTube thing. Please check out other videos that I've done. You can go back and look at those. I mean, we have a Heinz 57 so that you can catch up. And that's always cool. That's kind of a neat series that's out there. So there's other things. But I'm looking forward to season 3, and it's going to be great. Okay? So hang in there, and I'll see you on the trail.